don't want you monkey mouth sitting in my throne again. I'm mad, but I ain't stressed.
What's going on, y'all? Welcome back to The What? My name is Eric. Thank you guys for tuning in, whether you're listening, subscribing to the YouTube, and watching. I appreciate everything you guys are doing. However you're interacting with this, I just want to say thank you. Um, if you checked out the first episode, thank you. If you checked out the trailer, if you checked out the trailer, thank you for your views, however you're interacting with the content. I just want to say thank you guys. But this is episode 2 of The What, and this time we'll be talking about streaming, whether it's music, movies, television, all types of streaming, which is the most popular way of receiving our media nowadays, which I don't think a lot of people understand streaming or even know what the definition of streaming is. So really, streaming is just a method of receiving data, whether it's music, video, any other type of audio, from a server without having to download the file. So I could think of the origin of streaming for me, which would be the Comcast on-demand feature that they had, which all cable channels had the on-demand feature, but specifically talking about Comcast, you had the on-demand button, you click it, you could go to any of the channels they had listed, and if you were subscribed to premium channels like a HBO or Showtime, you go to that channel and you're able to watch any TV show that they had premiered. If it premiered that Sunday, it would be on that Monday, and so on. So that would be the method of receiving the data from the Comcast server without having to download it, and you get that data and you're able to watch whatever show or movie that they have available. So yeah, that would be my earliest origin of streaming. And then when it comes to like the music side, it would be like a Napster or Rhapsody. And Napster actually got in trouble for illegally obtaining the music and having it available for streaming, which they got in trouble from RIAA, which is Recording Industry Association of America. Those are the people that give out the plaques for the artists, the labels, however much they sell. That's where they get their plaques from, those guys. And then those guys saw Napster and said, hey, you're doing this illegally, we gotta take that. So Napster got in trouble for that, and later on they became more legitimate. They ended up actually buying Rhapsody, which Rhapsody no longer exists, and it's just Napster, which no one really uses Napster, which comes in around 2008, which we get Spotify, which nowadays is the biggest streaming platform, which other streaming platforms when it comes to music include now Apple Music, Tidal, even YouTube Music has their own exclusive music streaming platform now. So Spotify will be the big dog, really took Napster out of here. And then when it comes to video streaming, there's the YouTube that started around 2005-ish, 2006-ish. And then eventually you would have Netflix, which they used to deliver out the DVDs through either the Red Box, which if you go to like a Walmart or any type of convenience store, like a 7-Eleven even, they would have the Red Box and be Netflix. You're able to get those movies in that way. But now they moved on to the streaming side, and now they're the biggest streaming platform. And now you have other ones like Prime or HBO Max, even Paramount Plus. You have all these different types of streaming platforms. Which comes to movies and TV, now they're competing with Netflix to be the biggest one. But yeah, that's where the origins of the streaming come from. And then nowadays we have all different types of streaming platforms. Everyone has a streaming platform nowadays. Because nowadays, I don't know if people know really the intricacies of how the artist or actor slash writer, whatever, platform they're using in order to get payouts from these platforms. If we're talking about the music side, you know, when it comes to payouts, it actually depends on a few factors. It depends on the location of the subscriber, their subscription level. Like Spotify, for example, they have a free version of using their platform, and then they have a premium version of using their platform. The premium version, gets more payouts because they pay a higher number in subscription price, so that percentage goes to the artist. And the free version, of course, with ad revenue, that percentage goes to the artist, but it's a lower payout than the premium number, of course. But if we're talking about streams, man, now I'm gonna, just do a little bit of numbers and math and just give you guys a determination of what you think is fair and what's not fair. So, I'll put up some figures of a few streaming platforms, what they pay out in terms of per stream. But right now we're going to use Spotify as an example for just giving out just a few gross numbers. Now, let's say you're an artist, right? And you're, you're independent and you're trying to do your thing. And you're working really, really hard to get your streams up. And let's say you're able to get 3,000 streams. 3,000 streams. Woo! 3,000. That seems like a lot. 3,000 times your, song was streamed. That's a lot. If we're using the payout number for Spotify and times it by the number of streams you receive, it would come out to be around $9.54 for 3,000 streams. Yeah. And then let's say you get to 10,000 streams. You worked really hard and you got to 10,000 streams. Wow, 10,000. If we do 10,000 times the payout number, that would be $31.80. Wow. Let's say you work really, 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 really hard and you get 200,000 streams, which for independent artists is very difficult. But let's say, you're signed to a label and you get to 200,000 streams. So you're signed to a label, they help you get to 200,000 streams. That payout would come out to around $636. But let's say, hold up, stay with me now. Let's say they get you to 1 million streams. 1 million streams. That's a large number. 1 million is a large number. If we times the 1 million times the payout, it would be around $3,180. Woo! $3,180. You can pay rent with that. Those are the payouts for, certain streaming numbers when using Spotify. So that's Spotify's method. And if we compare it to back in the day, let's say 20 years ago, 2005, where artists had to sell physical copies. Each CD, let's give it a low number, $9.99. If you times that number times, let's say you sold 3,000 of those albums, that number will come out to almost $30,000. $30,000. Wow. So that $30,000 number is actually more than if you were compared to today getting 1 million streams. It's a way larger number than getting 1 million streams today, which, you guys can do the calculations of 10,000 copies sold, 200,000 copies sold. It's a larger number compared to streaming is the point. And then Yeah, those numbers compared to back in the day, it's a large discrepancy. And by the way, these are gross numbers. This is before distribution fees. This is before label takes their cut or manager takes their cut. There's a few fees that come, after the number. So these aren't even the final numbers, the check the artist receives. And don't let you not own your music. So that's even a smaller number you're receiving. So, take that into consideration when streaming your favorite artists. Now, the movie and TV side is a little bit different. Well, first of all, they have a union with the movie and TV side, which is SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, which is at SAG, the union that they have, which is able to calculate certain things with residuals with actors and writers. Because if we talk about back in the day, an actor slash writer would hope to land a role on a TV show or movie that gets distributed all around the world with DVD sales, or TV show. And residual cases, they get syndicated, the reruns happen, and they get checks each month for the rest of their lives with those reruns. But with streaming, there's really no reruns per se. It's all one catalog into the streaming platform. So if you're lucky to be a SAG member, you're able to actually get these residuals. So if you're just a run-of-the-mill actor doing whatever, you're just getting paid a lump sum, an upfront fee, a buyout, if you will, from the streaming platform, and they give you a number that's supposed to cover any future revenue and revenue now, which can be good or bad depending on how large the project you're involved with gets. So let's say they get canceled after the first season, that upfront fee could mean a lot because you got more money than expected. But if your show takes off and is doing well, and that upfront fee might not be as big as it should be if we were to take in residuals into account. So when it comes to the residuals and streaming nowadays, this is if you're a SAG member. So SAG members, they get the residual pay. It's actually the total actual compensation, which is the base pay of the actor. That's multiplied by the subscriber factor, which is a percentage applied to the actor or writer's base pay and the amount of subscribers the platform has. So if we're taking Netflix, for example, Netflix has a 90% subscriber factor because they have over 75 million subscribers. If it's other platforms, the percentage is different. And then there's another percentage that they calculate, which is exhibition percentage, which is 45%. And each year, for the initial release of the project, the percentage is 45%, and then it trickles down each year, and around the 13th year it gets to about 1.5%. So let's say as an actor, writer, you get paid let's say $2,500 as your base pay, and you're a SAG member. That's if you're a SAG member. You times that by the subscriber factor, which we're using Netflix as an example, which is 90%, and then the initial year one release percentage, which is 45%, that comes around to 1,012, at least around a little over $1,000 for the total amount of residuals you receive for that month. And then there's bonuses that SAG and the union has negotiated with the streaming platforms. So if you get bonuses, which that's it's harder to do, the project, let's say the project garners viewership equal to around 20% of the digital streaming platforms domestic subs within that 90% of the subscriber factor, that's how you get the bonus. It has to garner a certain amount of views within a certain amount of time, which is 90 days, I believe. If I'm going off the top of my head, 90 days within that, and then the bonus occurs. Now, they calculate the bonus by how many hours watched, and then it's relative to the length of whatever you're watching. So that's how the residuals of movies and TV shows is calculated. So I'm giving you all this information just to, show you about streaming and what it pays out. So I would say, it's something to think about when you're streaming music and movies. Now, I'll get to my opinion of all of this. I would say that streaming overall is not bad. I would say it's the method that we all use for consuming media. I would say I wish there were higher payouts from these streaming platforms, especially a Spotify. They can pay more than a cent, less than a cent for one stream. It's less than half a cent actually. It's a nasty low number. I wish that number was higher. I wish it was higher for other platforms. But hey, there's no union compared to the movie side with SAG. If there was a SAG version of something in the music industry, maybe those things can be negotiated. Even though it is, difficult for the movie side as well, but at least they have something. They have a union that's able to negotiate with them. So I would say to you, ask you the question, do you think artists deserve to be paid more from the streaming? Do you think that they should stand up for themselves, have a union, be able to negotiate when it comes to music? So those are, questions to be answered. But I think that with streaming, there's a lot to be desired. For me, I will keep on streaming, but also I will have other methods of supporting my favorite artists, whether it comes to buying merch or actually buying a physical of their CD. Even if I don't, use the physical, I think any type of support, especially if it's not a big artist signed to a major label, I think that, other means of support would be great for the artist. So, that's just my opinion of it. And I think that, people should think about that more when they are using their platform. Yeah, I would say that's about it for the streaming episode. Thank you guys for listening, watching, however you're consuming this. I want to say thank you. I want you guys to interact with me. Let me know what streaming platforms you use. Do you think artists should be paid more? How will you support the artists that need to be paid more? How will you support, actors or writers that need to be paid more? Which, like I said before, their union helps them with that. But personally, I am concerned more about the music side because there is no union at all for them. So, let me know what you think. Please subscribe, comment, like, dislike the video, rate, let me know. And I'll get back to you on the next episode of The What. My name is Eric Page. Peace.